Shortly after this, my friend Patrick from Encounter Ministries told me about amazing miracles that started to break out through a theology class at Alter High School in Dayton, Ohio.
So in May of 2016, I led the Catholic ministry team for an event called Love Dayton, which was an interdenominational evangelization event sponsored by Global Awakening, where they sent out teams all over the city of Dayton. We went door to door, inviting people to a citywide evangelization gathering at the Dayton Convention Center. And we offered to pray with people. And there are a lot of people that asked to pray for healing in their bodies. And so my team saw so many physical, miraculous healings right in front of our face. I was so excited. I ended up calling my friend Ryan, who lived in Dayton, and told him all of these glory stories. And he got so excited that he invited me to come in and share with his class what was going on.
So he arrives at Alter about 1:15, steps into my 8th period class. They're finishing up a test. So we wait a little bit. We have 10 minutes left on the clock. And I'm like, Patrick, do you want to, share a little bit? Maybe share a few stories. He said, absolutely. Everyone is completely blown away. I remember students describing it later on as just the presence of God was palpable in the room. And then he also says, anybody else who would like to receive prayer for any healing, please stay back.
Patrick started calling out things in class, and one of the things he said was foot. And he was like, if anyone wants me to pray over them, I'd be more than happy to. And so he actually kneeled down and held my right ankle. And I could actually kind of feel a burning in my ankle and where the pain was. So he wanted to test if it was healed and if it was all fixed. And so I kind of just did a little loop around the classroom, not anything too serious, but did that, and then I jumped on it and there was no pain.
It was super eye-opening. It was insane. He was this thing was happening in my knees, and he was praying to me, and it was just a whole bunch of weird emotions and feelings. And then he was like, okay, we're done. And I got up and there was nothing. It was awesome. I could go and I could play sports, I could run, I could do whatever I wanted because it didn't hurt.
Everything, it was just crazy. You could almost feel the power in the room. And he just starts to pray. And I was so nervous because I had no idea what was going on. But so they prayed over my hip, and my whole body felt warm, and it was a crazy experience. And since then, I haven't had any problems with it, and it's unbelievable. It's so real. It's crazy. And not only that, as he continued to pray over me and stuff, he felt kind of drawn to my shoulder. So I had pulled a muscle in my back behind my shoulder blade, and so he prayed over my shoulder. And I was sort of just he had me rotated around and stuff, but he basically just wiped it out, and it felt like it had never been injured.
It's just, that was my first time ever thinking this is real, this. But ever since then, I just felt this God presence inside me.
Derek's healed, 3 other students are healed, and now Anna's healed. And there is momentum and there's enthusiasm. And for myself as a teacher, Lord, what are you capable of doing? What if this is what it meant to be part of a Catholic school, to allow the Holy Spirit to move and to always allow signs and wonders to accompany the proclamation of the gospel? What if that was what Catholic education was all about?
After this experience, Ryan shared with me he felt called with another teacher to start a ministry called Upper Room. It was going to be Wednesday mornings before school, where they would do what we were doing. They would actually start off with a time of praise and worship, and then he would teach to them on the role of the spiritual gifts and evangelization. He would teach them how to hear God's voice, how to pray for healing, how to be an effective evangelist in the school.
When you begin to teach it like that, students are like, okay, I have thoughts. I feel prompted. I feel motivated. I feel things.
I never thought of me just going and praying with my friends just casually. But I remember it was one day, one of the Upper Room events, he kind of started giving the idea of who do you want to pray with? One example is Cameron, one of my good friends. We were planning to lead Kairos together, and she was having a hard week. And she drove me home, and we're sitting in my parking lot, and she's just telling me all these stories, all this stuff that's going on, and how it's a rough week. And she just asked me, or why do you always seem like you're having a good time or you're loving, or why do you have that joy? I'm like, well, there's God, isn't there? Once you feel God, there's nothing but just to be happy. And at that moment, something just came over me. She wants to feel God. That's what she's asking me. And I asked her, hey, can I pray for you right now? But in my head, I'm nervous. I'm like, I've never done this. How am I gonna do this? But she's just like, oh, sure. Like confused, but like, yeah, let's do it. And I did, and I started praying, and through that, I could see her, she literally started crying. And I was like, why was I even nervous in the beginning?
If you think that you can offend God by making too big of a request in prayer, you're far wrong, and you think you're way bigger than you actually are. As I've seen like Mrs. Lunny healed, and then Caroline and I praying over a woman, and literally she's like, I've never been able to touch my toes in 40 years. And we're like, touch your toes, and she does it, and like just be completely healed.
Instead of it being, I want to get to heaven someday, in which heaven is out there somewhere, a place. How about I want to be heaven in this school, be the presence of God in this school, because the power of the resurrection lives within me. I get the sense that we're just beginning this, which excites me tremendously, that God's fingerprints are everywhere right now, and students are being able to identify the signs in which He's working in their own life, individually and also collectively as a body of believers at the school. Something is happening, there's a momentum that's taking place, and we just want more. We're sons and daughters crying out for more.